Hello and welcome back to my knitting podcast. My name is Hannah and I am excited to share with you what I've been up to recently. So I feel like I should call this episode just I'm trying to have self-control, because I feel like every facet of what I'm doing in my knitting journey right now is just all about trying to do what I should be doing right now. So I wanted to start out talking about my finished objects, and all of them are stuff I've not talked about before. The biggest one that I've been working on, I have not talked about because it was a gift knit that I just gave away last weekend. It was my best friend's birthday and I was making her a pair of socks, and I just got them done like the night before I gave them to her. So I don't have them anymore. So I actually recorded ahead of time, and here I am to tell you about the socks that I made. Hello, it is me from the past at night, and I'm very tired. It is about 11 o'clock on a work night, and I have stayed up because I had to get this project done. So I've been secretly working on a gift knit for my best friend's birthday, which is this weekend, and we're hanging out tomorrow to celebrate it, so I needed to have her gift ready for then. And we're hanging out right after work, so I have to have it like all packed up and wrapped and ready to go, so I knew they needed to be done tonight. I've been working on a pair of socks for her. It is the same best friend that I gave the striped socks to a couple weeks ago, a month ago at this point, and I gave them to her and she was really excited, and she's like, these are going to be so nice to have during the winter months when it's so gray and dreary outside. I will put these on and think about my best friend. And I was like, that's so nice. So obviously I was like, I want to make her another pair for her upcoming birthday. So I have just like within the last 10 minutes off the needles completed pair of socks for her number 2, and I love them. I think they turned out so good. I'm so happy with them. The yarn is from one of my favorite yarn dyers, Super Glow Fiber on Instagram, and it's lovely. I don't know that it even has a name. It is from a mystery bag that she was selling almost a year ago now that my husband bought me for Christmas, and it was an unlabeled skein. So the most that I can reason is that it maybe was just like a test color. I don't know. So it's maybe one of a kind. But as I've mentioned before, me and my best friend both love bright colors a lot. She is especially partial to green though. And so when I was digging through my stash looking for the perfect skein, this just felt absolutely perfect because bright colors, pink, mostly green though. For the toe, I am just using a leftover that I have for my Kermit sweater, actually, if you remember from last fall. And it's just a basic like Joann Fabrics K&C yarn. They're like sock yarn. It's 75% wool, 25% nylon, super basic. I don't think they sell this color anymore though, so I don't remember what it's called, I'm gonna be honest. And then the heel, I actually held that green with a strand of mohair. I had heard people talk about before how that can help the heel of your sock kind of hold up longer over time. And so I decided, you know, I'm making a green sock. This was another leftover from my Kermit sweater, so I'm making use of my leftovers, and I really like it. Honestly, it feels so cushy and soft. Like, I might do that for when I finally make myself a pair of socks. So really excited to have those done and to be able to give some more of my stash away in gift form. And I also, if you watched my last podcast, I talked about that I have been making some small handmade items, a lot of knitted accessories that I donate to my husband's grandma's church because they do a craft show every year where they sell off handmade items and raise money for their church. I've got 2 items that I finished in the last couple of weeks. The first one is a hat, and I'm gonna be honest, visually, it's not my favorite. I'm not a huge gray person, but this fluffy is so soft that I think how it feels makes up for it. Like I said in my last video, I'm using these projects as a way to use up just kind of scraps or random stuff that I have that I just don't think I'm gonna use anymore. A lot of it's super bulky weight things that I bought maybe some super bulky yarn a couple years ago and just never figured out what to do with it. And that's a lot of what this is. This gray fluffy is one that I have a lot of these yarns that's this really fluffy texture. It's really soft, but I learned that I just do not like bulky synthetics. They get so warm. So I've been trying to use it up and give it away as accessories because I just think that it works really well for accessories. I did hold this with one strand of just basic black acrylic DK weight yarn. I kind of think that that gives it a little extra body. It holds its shape a little better. This fluffy yarn is really lightweight, so I feel like it would be like so floppy if I didn't have a little bit of extra density in there. I also kind of think it makes it look like cookies and cream. The other item that I finished for the craft fair is similar to one that I've already made. I made another cowl, and this is actually just like the emerald green one that I made and showed in the last video. It's just with this rusty red colored yarn, and it's also the I think 100% wool super bulky brand yarn. It is K&C from Joann Fabrics. I don't know if they sell this kind of thing anymore. I got this on clearance and I haven't bought bulky yarn in forever because, again, I realized I didn't really like wearing it that much, but this used up almost a whole skein of what I had, so I was pretty happy about that. The texture that I used for it is just a seed stitch, and every other row is stockinette, so it's kind of a seed stitch just broken up a little bit more. I don't know what to call that stitch, but I use it all the time, so if you know what to call it, let me know, because it's one of my favorites. So I've got these two to give away as well, so it's really exciting. All my finished projects this week were gifts because it feels like not only am I getting to use up the yarn that I have, but it's also basically like entirely being alleviated from my stash. It's not in my yarn stash, it's not in my sweater or knitted object stash because that's pretty large too, and I don't have room for like this many sweaters. So I'm still just trying to find kind of a home for them and a purpose, and I'm still getting to have fun making them. I've really had a lot of fun with these little accessories because even though I do have a lot of big projects, it's really fun to cast one of these on because it doesn't take very long. I can make one of these hats in like 2 hours probably, and the cowls are maybe like 3 hours, so it's just like a really fun kind of impulse project. I can usually do it in an evening if I have a lot of time. So that is it for my finished objects for this video. Now, I said I'm trying to have a lot of self-control, mostly because I'm really trying to not start like my fall and winter knitting yet. If you are on the knitting side of YouTube at all, which obviously you are, you've probably been seeing a million recommendations for videos of, you know, fall knitting inspiration and fall pattern roundups and everything. And I have just been eating those up because I love new inspiration and I love seeing what's out there for each season, but I really want to try and finish my summer knits. Last year I was working on a cotton t-shirt as a summer knit and just could not quite get it finished before it got cold outside, and then I just kind of abandoned it and did not pick it up and finish it until the following May. So I really don't want that to happen again, so I'm trying to be dedicated to my summer, my warm weather projects before I move on to the cold weather ones. The first one that I'll talk about, I'm really excited about. I'll probably get this one done first. It is the vineyard top that I've been working on. If you don't watch my channel a lot, or if you're new here, I usually draft my own patterns. I just find it really fun and extra challenging to figure out how to make my own pieces and come up with my own ideas. I like having the creative freedom to just make what I want to make. And so both of the summer knits that I'm working on are completely self-drafted patterns, and I think they're going pretty well. They're not like overly complicated pieces, so I don't think they'd be that hard for anyone to make, just based off of what you know about knitting. But like I said, the first one I've been calling my vineyard top because I'm using a lace stitch, which I had only ever done in swatches before. I've never done like a whole garment in a lace stitch. This is a stitch out of my Knit Stitch dictionary. I'm doing it as an all over pattern for this tank top. I'm just making it a really basic tank top. Last episode, I had just barely not finished the front, and this time it is done and cast off, and I actually like washed and blocked it so that it would like actually look like the pattern. If you saw it last week, it was super bubbly and awful because the texture of the lace, you know, won't lay right. So here is the actual like relaxed lace stitch pattern. I feel like you can actually finally see the little leaf shapes, and I'm really loving it. I think it is so cute. It's gonna be just like a really basic tank. It's nothing intensely complicated because it's, you know, with lace stitch. That was the complicated part of this already. So I stuck with a really basic shape and I think it's looking really cute. I'm really excited for it. And it's definitely a cropped top. I don't know if this is going to be wearable outside of summer. I did kind of think about, obviously I can't try it on yet, but I kind of thought about maybe it would be wearable almost as like a lightweight vest because of how cropped it is, and I think the dark color kind of dresses it up. I've got a few like really silky weight shirts that I think would contrast nicely to like really show off the patterning in it that maybe I could wear it over top of. I don't know. I just don't know if this will be done when it's still warm enough to actually wear. So that is to be decided. One of my favorite parts about this lace stitch though is how it naturally creates this petaled edge. Oh my gosh, I just think it's so cute and such a sweet little detail that was just part of the actual design. I didn't do anything extra. That's just how the yarn overs make the yarn actually fall around that. And then along with that, I already cast on the back and have been working on that a decent amount. I've only got a couple inches done, but I'm feeling pretty good about how quick progress is going. And if you didn't watch my last episode, you can see like how bumpy and bubbly it is. So you can't really tell what it's gonna look like until it's washed and laying flat. And I'm thinking I can get this one done in not too long. We'll see how that actually goes. I did notice this is my first time knitting with, this is 100% linen yarn from Darn Good Yarn. I got a few years ago. It's been in stash probably at least 3 years, and I finally decided this summer obviously to use it. And I've heard people talk before about like linen yarn in general being kind of rough to work with, and I'm definitely picking up on that. It's not terrible, but I notice after a decent amount of time, it's like, you know, this is just, it's too rough. It dries your fingers out so much more than I even noticed with like cotton or anything. So that does kind of limit how much I can do in a day, but it's fun for a small amount of time. I'm glad that I'm doing it with kind of a, not complicated lace pattern, but it's something that I have to pay attention to because it kind of goes hand in hand that I get tired of like really having to think about it. I usually like to knit after I get home from work and I'm trying to relax. So sometimes I'll knit for like an hour on this and just be like, you know what, I want to do something mindless. So it kind of works out usually, but I have been trying to do this one a lot. So I've been noticing a lot more kind of the fatigue with knitting with linen, but I think that this could be done while it's still warm. It was a high of 89 today where I live, so it's not cold by any means. It's just like leaves are still falling and it's kind of the fall vibe outside right now other than the actual heat. So I'm trying to make myself focus on this, but I'm feeling really good about where I'm at, and honestly just having the front done and seeing what it looks like I think gives me so much more motivation to keep working on it because I feel like the end is in sight. Like, you know, I've got a whole portion of it done and I love it and I think it's so cute and I want to keep seeing where it is going. I'm really excited to like actually have it on. So hopefully I love it after I'm done with it. And then my other summer knit that I've been working on is a knit dress. I made a knit dress last year. If you're interested in the process, I posted a video last summer on my main channel just called Hannah Catherine, and it was okay. I used the Lion Brand yarn, the bamboo yarn that Lion Brand makes, and it's okay. It's a little thicker than I feel like I like a dress to feel. It's not bad, and I've worn it in the heat and it's comfortable, so there's that. But there was definitely some mistakes that I made and areas that I would alter now, so I decided to make another dress this summer. This is using K&C brand, again, cotton fingering weight yarn, and I would really highly recommend this yarn. This is garment number 3 that I'm making out of it, and I have had no negative experiences with it. It is really lightweight, which I love. I feel like a lot of times I hear people talk about cotton and say they don't want to use it because it's too bulky, because a lot of times cotton that's available on the market is like DK weight or sometimes worsted. I know Lily Sugar and Cream is a really popular one, and I don't like that for garments at all because it is really bulky. So I really love that this is a fingering weight. It's really affordable too. They sell at my Joann's at least, and I think online, it's 100-gram skein for $10, which is really good, especially because it's fingering weight, so there's a lot there, and it's really soft. I feel like I've never gotten to that point knitting with this yarn that I feel fatigued, like my hands hurt or anything, because I do hear people say that about cotton. I've never felt that way about this cotton though, so I have nothing but good to say about it. And I'm using this variegated green and yellow color. I don't remember what it's called, and I think I threw all my labels away, but I did try to look it up and you can't find it anywhere. It's discontinued, so I guess it doesn't matter anyways, because when I was originally planning this out, I thought I was gonna run out of yarn and I can't find it. So I'm just calling this my lemon lime dress, and I have made a decent amount of headway on it. So I've been knitting this from the top down. This is also a self-drafted pattern. This is also the first thing I've ever knit from the top down. Most of my garments, well, everything else, I have knit bottom up, just because I think that that's been a little bit easier for me to figure out in my mind. Top down was kind of a brain teaser. It was a little tricky, but I used a provisional cast on, which I had never done either, and I loved it. Oh my gosh, it was so much easier than I thought it would be, and I was really worried about making a mistake because it was the first time I was using it, and I can't even figure out where I actually did the provisional cast on, because I cast on basically in the armpit in the back and then went all the way around and then picked up to be in the round again, and I really can't tell where it's at. So it worked out really well and it was really easy, and I'm really happy with how it's looking. So I just did a really basic kind of like tank top style on the top. I wanted something really simple because I like knit dresses to be able to be layered with things. Like the dress I made last year, I have a white button-down shirt that I love wearing underneath it because I feel like it kind of elevates it, makes it something I can wear to work. The shaping is so basic on this that layering just vibes really nicely. And last episode, here's the whole thing. It's getting some length. It's definitely not a dress yet, but it's getting some length. Last episode, I put a little marker in here so I could see exactly how far I'd gotten. I was at the disco ball, and I've gained a couple inches. Not very much, but my rows are like over 300 stitches at this point because I've done all my increases and I'm just going down now, and it's lengthy, obviously. I feel good about the amount of progress that I've made. This is an amazing mindless net because it's just stockinette. And my husband and I were watching all the Lord of the Rings this last couple of weeks, and it has been perfect. I can knit stockinette without looking, and so I'll just sit there and knit and watch the movie and get a few rows done while we're watching. So I don't know if I'll have this much done next time. We'll see. This one I have less confidence that I'll be able to get it done before I give up on summer projects because I'm like at my butt right now. Like that's all the further I've gotten, and it is going really slow because how many stitches around it is, but I don't want it to be bodycon at all. I like, you know, having something that's kind of loose fitting, and I want it to just be like a really casual drapey dress. Being cotton, I feel like it does have a lot of drapiness to it, and it's just a really casual feeling fabric, but I don't know if it's going to be done. Around the top, I did go ahead and do like my detailing. All I did was a row, you probably can't really see it, but I did on the edge of the sleeves and then around the collar as well. I did a row of just single crochets because I didn't want it to stretch out, and I thought that it would give it a more finished look, but I didn't want like a bunch of ribbing. I feel like ribbing on the edge of stuff looks so wintry, like it just automatically looks like a sweater, and I wanted this to seem almost more like a sporty dress. so I didn't want the ribbing on it. So things are going with this dress. I feel like I've used a lot of this skein. I still have one more 100-gram skein, but I think I'm about halfway through this one. So this is about a skein and a half here, which means I'm about halfway through my yarn. So I think, oh my gosh, I hope I have enough. I think I'll have enough. I don't really know because I'm not following any sort of instructions. So hopefully, honestly, best case scenario is that I just like run out at the perfect length. I just use it all, which might honestly be the plan depending on how far I get, but I would love to not have anything left over because I don't know what else I'd ever use this for, because I definitely will not have enough to make another garment. So if I use it all, fantastic. So those are my summer knits that I'm working on getting finished up. The only other knit that I've been spending a decent amount of time on, I did talk about my last episode. It's another gift knit that I'm working on. My husband's brother and his wife are having their first baby, so I'm making a baby blanket for them for the baby shower that's coming up in December. And I did talk about this just to talk about the yarn that I'm going to be using. It is the Lion Brand Mandala collection, and this is a yarn that I had in stash. They are not figuring out the gender of the baby, so I felt like this would be a good mix of all colors, so it does not matter. Now, I started knitting this and I got through the first color and realized it was not growing very fast, and it felt like I was using a lot of yarn, and because I was just kind of freehanding this, I didn't know exactly how much yarn I was gonna need, but I thought, you know, like it's labeled as a baby yarn, so I thought maybe this will just be enough. You know, sometimes on the labels they say like how many skeins you need for a project, and it didn't. So I thought, you know, we'll just go with it. Well, I got through the first stripe and I was like, there's no way this is going to be big enough. Like, it's just not going to happen. So I considered buying another skein. I actually found this exact type of yarn and the right color at my local Walmart, and I thought about buying it. I decided not to though, because the only skein that I could find of this started at the color yellow, which is like right in the middle of this. So I was like, to be able to make the ombre kind of still work, I would probably have to start in the middle of that skein and then maybe only get to use half of it. So I thought, you know, I want to go through my stash and see if there's something I could use because I have a lot of yarn. I was looking for something 100% synthetic because that's what this is. It's acrylic. I tend to usually do baby gifts in acrylic unless I know it's someone who would prefer the wool, because when you're becoming a new mom, I don't feel like needing to hand wash items that were gifted to you is really a great thing to have to do. Like, I don't want to gift somebody a chore. So if I know that it's someone that's probably not going to want the extra chore and maybe doesn't care if it's wool or not, I do tend to try to use acrylic. Also because then I don't have to give them instructions on laundering it. Like, that just feels like the icing on the cake there when you give somebody a gift and have to put a note in of like how to take care of me. So I was looking for something that was totally synthetic, and I came across this yarn, which I thought neutral is perfect, and I have had this in stash forever. This is a yarn that I got on clearance from Joann. I don't know what it's called. I do know that it's K&C brand yarn, and it's also 100% synthetic, and it's this little textured yarn. I don't know what you would call this, but it's really, really soft, and I have 3 50-gram skeins of it, and it just seemed kind of perfect because obviously you want something really soft for a baby blanket. So I've only got a few stripes done, but I've been using it to go in between each color, and I'm really liking it. Oh, this is the wrong side. Again, like I've said a million times, I love doing the seed stitch with a row of stockinette in between, which is what I'm doing all the colors in. And then for the textured area, because the yarn is textured and a little fluffy, like it has a small halo to it, I'm not trying to put a texture into it because I think it'll just totally be lost. So I'm just doing garter stitch on the textured rows. Now, I was going to try and make all of them really uniform, like all the white rows were going to be the same length. But when I did the purple, I realized there's not the same amount of color of everything in that skein of yarn. Like, this is a different shade of purple. So I wanted there to be like a break there, or else I thought it would look weird. So I still haven't decided. I might do the white stripes uniform. I don't know though. I'm worried that I'll run out. Like, I'm worried that this won't be enough in between all the colors. So we'll see. I'm still making decisions about the design of this, but I think it's looking pretty cute and it's really, really soft. It feels really nice. It feels like kind of the weight I was going for. So we shall see. This is my next time crunch project. Like, I have quite a bit of time because I don't need it until the very beginning of December, but I usually try not to make projects that I have a deadline for because it makes it not fun to make. Like the socks that I was making for my best friend, I was really glad that I made them and I did enjoy most of that process, but I feel pretty burnt out on making socks. So I think a lot of that comes down to the fact that I was kind of just forcing myself to just dial into that one project because I knew I had a time constraint on it. So hopefully I don't start to feel that way about this project. Right now I'm still having fun with it, so I'm just gonna try and go with that. That is pretty much all the projects I've been working on currently. Like I said, trying to get some things finished up. I don't have a ton of plans going forward. I do have an acquisition that I have to talk about. If you've heard me talk about it at all, I've been on a bit of a yarn buying ban. I have only purchased yarn 3 times this year. Now, it wasn't like 3 skeins, but it was 3 occasions, and that's it. And there was one time in person. We went on vacation. I had saved up money. I bought yarn on vacation. Just, it's fine. And then I've done 2 pre-orders online, and it's the yarn from the second pre-order. I talked about it in June. I pre-ordered from Sorella's Flowers Gone Wild collection, and I just got it at the beginning of August. Has it been that long ago? I think so. Okay. Well, it's been a long time, so I haven't talked about it yet, but I got Strawberry Fields and I got it in their sport weight. My plan is to make a cardigan, and I had been seeing a lot of projects in this really lovely bright red color, and I just couldn't get it out of my head because I think it's so pretty. Here is the Strawberry Fields, and I love it. I'm so excited. It's just exactly what I was looking for. I think it's perfect, and I think it's gonna make the prettiest cardigan. I am really excited to make the cardigan. I have only made 1 cardigan. If you followed me on my main channel when I was posting knitting content over there, you maybe heard some of the process. I followed a pattern, which I never do, but I thought, you know, I'm gonna push myself outside of my comfort zone. I'm gonna follow a pattern, and I don't like the sweater. It was such a bummer. It does not fit well at all. I don't like the shaping of it. It's just weird, and I don't even know how to fix it because there's so many parts of it that I don't like. So that was a bummer. And so I want to redeem the world of cardigans by making one that I do really like. It's experiences like that that make me just continue to draft my own patterns because I can never talk myself into being motivated to follow a pattern, because no matter what, that pattern is built for that person. And I know that that's not true because, like, there's always testers that are testing patterns, but I know how to make garments fit me and they know how to make garments fit them, and not vice versa. So at the end of the day, I don't feel like any pattern is gonna fit me as well as a pattern I can make for myself. And I have a lot of knitting books and have spent a lot of time learning different techniques to where I'm pretty confident in my own abilities to make what I like. So this is like TBD when this is gonna happen because I'm not letting myself cast any other big projects on until I finish some stuff and finish what I'm gonna talk about next. But I'm excited. This is sometime in the future. We shall see. Now, I do have a special circumstance this weekend that's coming up. In my area, there is a wool festival being held. I went to this wool festival last year and had the time of my life. It was so fun. I've been to a couple different wool festivals, fiber festivals, yarn themed events, and there was fun. I always have a good time, but oh my gosh, nothing compares to this wool festival. It was so fun. I actually was like almost not even looking forward to it because it just kind of ended up with circumstances that I didn't have anybody to go with, but I wanted to go so bad. And so I went by myself, and it was kind of terrifying because I just feel like I always have someone with me. Like, you know, I'll go with my husband or my best friend or my mom, and it just, like I said, worked out that none of them could come, and I still wanted to go, so I did. And even by myself, it was so fun. They had all different animals there, which I've never seen before at festivals like this, that it was trying to kind of showcase where the fiber comes from. They had all different types of sheep and mohair goats and alpacas. They were so cute. And they had a yak, a mom yak with its baby, which was so cute, and a bunch of Angora rabbits. It was just so cool to see all of them. I grew up on a farm, but we always raised like cows and chickens. So I haven't really been around sheep. I had never seen a yak in my life. And I've always stayed away from alpacas because I didn't know if it was a llama and it was gonna spit on me. I didn't know how to tell them apart. So it was really fun. I got to feed an alpaca. So much fun. So much fun. I made a YouTube short about it. I posted on my main channel last year. So if you want to see like a really quick synopsis of the festival and then what I got, you can go see that on my main channel. But I wasn't planning on going this year because I've been on this yarn buying ban, and I said, you know, I don't need more yarn. I don't want to buy more yarn. I want to use what I have. I'm just not going to go because, you know, I wanted to see the animals and I like walking around and just kind of like the community that's there. But I thought, you know, if I go, I'm going to buy yarn. Like, it's just going to happen. I'm going to see something I want, and I'm going to be caught up in the fury of the wool festival, and I'm going to buy some. Like, it's just going to happen. So I decided I wasn't going to go. On another note, my mom's birthday is also this month, and I had been planning on making her a pair of socks because she had mentioned that she would really like some. She always compliments what I hand make. She is the person who got me like started on hand making stuff because she sews a lot. She made a lot of our clothes when I was a kid. And so she very much appreciates handmade arts, and I've made her a lot of stuff over the years, but because I just started sock knitting not that long ago, I had never made her a pair of socks. So I thought, you know, make her a pair for her birthday. Well, I finished my best friend's socks like a week and a half ago, and I hadn't been working on any other projects. I was just trying to get those done. I was like, there's no way I have time to make a whole nother pair of socks. Like, even if I made shorties, there's no way. So I had to kind of brainstorm. I also just really did not want to make another pair of socks. So I was kind of brainstorming about like, what do I do? I'm out of ideas here. I really like giving her handmade stuff. And I remembered back to last Christmas when I was showing her my Kermit sweater that I made last year. If you were, again, from the main channel, I talked about that. But she said, she complimented how nice it was, and has said a few times since then that she would love a handmade sweater, and that she knows the yarn's really expensive, and so she would be okay like buying the yarn and then I would just make it. Which I know I hear people in the community always being like, looking down on like that thought process and saying like, you know, that that's not okay, that people would expect that, which I do agree, because buying yarn is not paying for labor, but it would be a birthday present for my mom. So that would be the present, is my labor on the sweater. And so I called her and asked her if she was free the day of her birthday to go to the wool festival and pick out some yarn. Because I also would have concerns about like, since she is not used to shopping for yarn, what to look for. What if it doesn't feel like how she thought it felt if she buys it online? This way, we're at a massive festival that has dozens of vendors that we can walk around for a couple hours and look at a lot of different options and different colors and different textures. And I had her come over about a week ago and kind of just feel the thicknesses of some of my different sweaters or projects that I'm working on and tell me like which one she thought she would like, and that way we can know what weight of yarn. I'm leaning towards maybe like kind of a sport weight. We're gonna spend the day at the wool festival looking for yarn to buy for her to make. She wants a cardigan out of it, and that'll probably be the only new project that I cast on this fall because I have a lot as it is. Now, am I gonna buy anything at the wool festival? Maybe. I'm gonna try not to. I'm really trying to talk myself out of it ahead of time. There are like two things though that I know I'm gonna struggle with. Number one is a booth that I don't know the name of because I bought yarn off of them last year and it did not have a name, like a company name on the tag, and I don't remember what it was called, but they had just a whole booth full of either undyed or really subtly dyed alpaca. So they were all like different creamy tones, 100% alpaca. They felt amazing. They came in 8-ounce skeins, so they were like huge. And I bought 2 of them last year, and that's actually what I'm using to make my cable knit sweater that I talked about in my last episode that I haven't worked on in a little bit, but I love that yarn. It feels so nice, and it was actually a really good price. For that 8-ounce skein, I want to say it was like $37 or $38. Like, that's a lot of yarn, and that's not a bad price. So that one's been bouncing around in my head, as well as one of the local companies that brought alpacas had, I don't even know what you call them. Maybe they're supposed to be Christmas ornaments because they were like probably this big around, but it was an alpaca's head that had like actual tufts of alpaca fur coming out of it, and it was so soft. It felt so good. But last year when I went, I was like super on a budget and I just wanted yarn. Like, that was what I was there for. And so I didn't get one, and you know what? I have thought about it ever since. Like, this entire year I've been like, man, I wish I would have got one of those. It was so cute. I think that would be so cute to hang up. Like, not even as a Christmas ornament. I would just hang it on the wall because I thought it was so cute and they were so soft. So that's like my kryptonite currently. I did look through the list of vendors online that they had posted. I didn't see anything about a group that was just selling alpaca. So maybe that booth won't be there and it will just like temptation avoided. So we'll see. And then my best friend and her mom are also coming to spend the day with us, and it's gonna be so fun and I'm so excited. And hopefully I won't spend any money. I kind of feel like maybe that's my happy medium, that I'm helping my mom pick out yarn, so I'll still get that like endorphin rush from purchasing yarn, but it won't be for me, and I know exactly what it'll be used for and I won't pay for it. So it'll be a perfect situation. And that, I think, is everything I've been working on recently, I think. Maybe in the next video I'll have a big project to say that I'm done with. I don't have any more secret projects I'm working on, I promise. So there's no other surprise finished projects. So anything that's done from here on out, you will know about ahead of time. So hopefully you enjoyed the chaos that is my knitting podcast, and I hope to see you back here again sometime soon.